Okay, so we're going to go through now the key questions to ask yourself, which is the perfect acid test to determine whether the story you're thinking of pitching is a news story or a non-story. So the things to ask yourself, and again, think about this, think about the publications that you want to get into. As I hope you read them, what kind of stories do they cover? What makes the news? Why is it news? What's the bit that's interesting? What's the hook that the journalist has got into? Once you become more and more familiar with the way of storytelling, and I promise you after this course you will not be able to read or look at another story the same way again, but once you do this, you'll realise what's interesting and how to apply it to your business. So a few obvious questions to ask yourself. What's new? Have you got a new product launch? Are you launching a new service? Have you taken on a new market? Have you expanded a new area? Have you added to your range? What is new? Are you developing something new? I used my own example. I'm launching this new DIY product, which you're now watching, which is essentially how to do your own PR. That was my new offering. Don't worry about it being a world first, a new forever. Sometimes just being an iteration of your service is new enough, because the reality of the matter is someone has probably already done something similar to what you're doing. That's just life. Who you know, you invent the wheel once, you invent an aeroplane once, and even now they keep bringing out iterations. The mobile phone is not new. My point is, don't get too hung up on the newness of the new, because the danger with that is you might never put a story out there because you're second guessing and being too cynical that it's not new. So if it feels like it's a new area of your business, it's quite likely new. What is different? So for example, what's different about your story? So I mentioned the doggy training. Are you now using a different method to what other people do? What's different for my business is that firstly, I aim to do PR with the difference, because I'm well versed in 3 different sectors. I've been a journalist and now I'm a PR. And also I'm not only doing consultancy for my clients, i.e. doing the PR for them, like a PR agency, I'm also training small businesses like yourself to do your own PR. So quite often you'll find agency PRs tend to do one or the other. They either train full-time or they do PR full-time. So that's my different offering. What's unique? And sometimes you are the unique point of your business. What's different in what you do? So for example, if you've got a videography business, but your business prides yourself in going that step further and actually going into people's homes and doing behind the scenes for a sector, so getting them ready before filming, so filming before the filming. Is it something different? Think about what makes you stand out. And a lot of these questions, they're the fundamentals you probably asked yourself when you were setting up your business or when you do your yearly business plan. If you didn't feel you had something great to offer or unusual to offer or unique to offer, the odds are you probably wouldn't be in business. So sometimes it's your passion that's the unique thing, but find what's unique and what's going to make the story. What is unusual? Are you booking a trend? So again, just to refer to the example of what I'm doing, most PR agencies wouldn't want to train people because it sounds almost counterintuitive, because why charge somebody once to do something at a lower fee when you can charge them every month and charge a lot more and get that consistent income? So am I crazy? Probably. But the point is, it's unusual. It's not what is the usual trend. So for example, one of the things might be, if there's so many organic food places out there, some salad places out there, some delis out there. What if there was something unashamedly that was a cafe that did just greasy chips and spoon and aimed at builders and was almost the antidote of the health food chains out there? Another example can be right near in London, a great restaurant got a lot of coverage because they served nothing but cereal, and it was called Cereal Killer, and they had these breakfast cereals from like the 80s, the 90s, so there was a lot of nostalgia, but that's all they served, and they were open late into the night. So nobody else would think of doing that. As a business plan, it sounds flawed, doesn't it? You think, who would want to have cereal at 9 in the evening? It worked, and not only that, they've got a huge amount of PR from it just because it's so unusual. So are you doing something that's a little bit different? Think about it. So, is there a human interest story or angle? I've mentioned at length about the importance of human interest. So even if you think your business is quite business focused and quite straight down the line, there may be a human interest angle. Even if you're an accountant and you think, well, there's hundreds of accountants, why would I get PR? What would be of interest that I could offer to a journalist? Well, actually, if you're an accountant to give you an example, for small businesses, how are small businesses growing? Are you offering something more affordable than the usual offering out there? Are you offering advice that's, are you offering advice and accountancy advice to single mums who want to go back into the workplace, mumpreneurs who've had a career break? Are you offering something unusual and different for them? And is there a human interest story with it? Because sometimes your client or the human angle will be, what's the story? So again, to use the accountancy angle, if, for example, you're talking about the auto-enrollment pension scheme, the human interest angle might be the importance of having a pension, and your case study might be a pensioner who is so glad that they actually put money away each month because now they're not relying on the state pension. So the human interest or story or angle, and is there a good case study to go with it? If you've got a good case study, and I've mentioned a few examples already, your chances of coverage is so much higher. Quite often a journalist says to me, that's a really interesting story, have you got a case study to go with it? Because sometimes just me saying something's brilliant won't do. They want to have context. They want to know how it affects man on the street or woman on the street. So if you've got a case study, that's something that you can use to your advantage. Is there a business development? Now, the beauty of all this is, you've probably seen, if you've watched the previous video, that actually I talk to you about all these things and show you real-time examples. So the business development is, are you growing? You don't have to give away your turnover figures, but are you adding 2 staff to your team of 2, then you've doubled. Does that make sense? So are you actually, growing in a certain way? Are you progressing? Are you hiring new people? Are you growing a different market? So for example, are you exporting overseas? Anything like that is a business development, and that is a potential story. So I bet by listening to this and asking yourself the questions, I guarantee you'll find one story in there. Please do drop me a note or an email if I'm wrong, but I'd find it hard to believe that there is not a story within all of this, because there must be a really strong story within that suits your business. So those are the key questions to ask yourself. There may be more if you elaborate and dig deeper, but essentially those are the kind of things that can potentially get you PR coverage.